Welcome to this lesson on food webs. Food webs represent interconnected food chains in ecosystems. They show us how different organisms are linked together through feeding relationships. Understanding food webs is essential to grasp how energy flows through ecosystems and how species depend on one another for survival. Let's start by understanding the difference between food chains and food webs. A food chain is a linear pathway that shows a single feeding relationship, like grass being eaten by a rabbit, which is then eaten by a fox. However, in nature, feeding relationships are far more complex. A food web is a network that shows multiple interconnected food chains. It reveals that organisms don't just eat one thing, and they aren't just eaten by one predator. This complexity is what makes ecosystems function. Here's a simple example of how a food web works. At the bottom, we have grass and other plants as producers. Grasshoppers feed on the grass. Moving up, we have mice and birds that may eat grasshoppers or seeds. Snakes can eat mice and birds. At the top, we have a hawk that can prey on snakes, mice, and birds. Notice how the hawk has multiple food sources and how organisms at each level are connected to multiple others. This is the essence of a food web, multiple pathways of energy transfer. Food webs have three key characteristics. First, they show multiple connections. A single organism can be part of several different food chains at the same time. Second, they reflect diverse diets. Most organisms consume multiple food sources, which gives them flexibility. Third, food webs create ecosystem stability. The more connections present in a food web, the more resilient the ecosystem becomes. If one food source disappears, organisms can rely on alternative sources, preventing ecosystem collapse. Food webs are organized into trophic levels, which represent feeding positions. At the base are producers like plants and algae that make their own food through photosynthesis. Primary consumers are herbivores that eat producers, such as rabbits and deer. Secondary consumers are carnivores that eat herbivores, like foxes and snakes. Tertiary consumers are top predators at the apex of the food web, such as eagles and lions. Energy decreases as we move up each trophic level, which is why there are fewer top predators than herbivores. Food webs are sensitive to disruptions. When one species is removed from an ecosystem, it affects all the organisms connected to it. If a predator disappears, the prey population can increase dramatically, leading to overgrazing or overconsumption of their food source. These are called cascade effects, where changes ripple through all trophic levels. For example, removing wolves from an ecosystem can cause deer populations to explode, which then damages plant communities. This demonstrates why every species plays an important role in maintaining ecosystem balance. The key takeaway from this lesson is that food webs reveal the complex interdependence of organisms in ecosystems. Remember this important principle: complexity equals stability. The more connections and pathways present in a food web, the more resilient the ecosystem becomes. A diverse, interconnected food web can withstand disturbances better than a simple one. This is why biodiversity is so important for ecosystem health. Protecting species and their relationships ensures the long-term stability of our natural world.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.